All right, welcome to the Longmont Pastor video blog. It's a ministry of Whitefields Community Church here in Longmont, Colorado. I'm here with Pastor Nick Cady, who is the author of the Longmont Pastor blog and also the pastor of Whitefields Community Church. And briefly, Nick, can you tell us what your goal and focus has been with the blog over the past few years?
Yeah, the reason I started writing the blog, my vision was to bring the gospel into conversations that people are having in everyday life, things that people are thinking about, dealing with, maybe questions they have about Christianity or faith in general. And I wanted to say, let's enter in and bring how the gospel uniquely speaks to these situations and make it available to people as a resource. And I felt that that could be greatly beneficial.
Well, we'll be drawing a lot of material from that blog and discussing it here as a way to expand the impact we can have with the gospel and engaging with various topics that intersect life and the Bible. And both of us, have spent a lot of time over in Europe as missionaries. And one of the things that we heard, and at least I did for the past 20 years, is that Christianity is dead in Europe. And this is also something we hear a lot here in America, that Christianity is in the decline. And this is an idea, of course, that's touted by the new atheists like Richard Dawkins or like Christopher Hitchens. But if it's not an original idea, back in 1882, Nietzsche declared that God is dead. But you have a few interesting takes on this question.
Yes. Okay, so first there's the anecdotal part. Having been over in Europe, my experience was not that Christianity is dead. In fact, my experience, and I know your experience as well, Mike, was that really the only hindrance that we saw on the spreading of the gospel and planting of new churches was not having enough workers to be able to do more. A friend of mine is a pastor in Kiev, Ukraine, and he said that if he had more pastors, there's almost no limit to the number of new churches they could start in Ukraine. And so how does that apply when you have a person like Richard Dawkins saying that it's a foregone conclusion, religion is going to end? This is actually, like you said, it's nothing new. Enlightenment thinkers were saying this a long time ago, that it's really just a matter of time. People are going to outgrow religion, basically. The fact is that that is not happening, and I'll give you some examples. So is Christianity in decline worldwide and in the United States? The answer is yes and no. So it's the question depends on what kind of religion we're talking about or what kind of Christianity, and it also depends on which parts of the world we're talking about. So the first thing to keep in mind is this. Inherited religion is in decline, but chosen faith is actually on the rise, maybe even dramatically so. And this is exactly what we experienced in Europe, is that the fact is that the times have changed. In the past, a very small percentage of the population was secular or non-religious or didn't affiliate with any particular faith. The fact is that that is on the increase. But what's also on the increase along with that is chosen faith, meaning that people choosing to believe in a particular religion or in a particular kind of Christianity. And that chosen faith is actually very much on the rise. Yeah, I recently read about a conference in Paris in which a professor from the University of Exeter in Great Britain pointed out that nominal or inherited Christianity is in rapid decline, but that new movements of the Christian faith are growing in Western cities, cities like New York, Toronto, places where it's been declared that Christianity is dead, and yet new Christian churches seem to be flourishing. So the Christianity that's flourishing in North America, in Europe, and around the world is often Pentecostal or definitely evangelical. And so that kind of Christianity is absolutely rising. I mean, you could put it this way, that another part of this is that liberal religion is declining, but conservative religion is on the rise, which you would think, according to Richard Dawkins and Christopher Hitchens, that it would be just the opposite, that we would be getting more and more liberal and that the liberal faith would be spreading, and it's actually just the opposite. So the more conservative the faith, the more it's growing and the more rapidly it's growing. Recently, the Presbyterian Church in the USA, so the PCUSA, announced its latest numbers, and they're in rapid decline. And that is true across the board of what we call mainline Protestant churches. So the reason why it appears, when you look at the numbers, that Christianity is in rapid decline in North America, for example, is because the majority denominations that make up the majority of the Christian population are what we call mainline Protestant denominations. And in the last 30 to 40 years, they have all increasingly taken a turn towards liberal theology, meaning that they don't believe in the validity of the Bible. They don't believe in the veracity of the Bible. And so that has affected a lot of their stances on moral issues. And as they've turned away from believing in the Bible and what the Bible says, they have gone into decline. And people have been, on the other hand, rapidly joining evangelical churches and other forms of conservative religion. And this isn't just related to Christianity. The same is true of Islam. More fundamentalist sects of Islam are growing rapidly.
In this discussion, this word secularism always seems to pop up, especially as it relates to the decline of religion. What role do you think secularism is playing in our culture today?
Well, secularism is certainly on the increase, and secularism meaning a movement away from faith of any kind, or we sometimes refer to it as humanism. So that is increasing. But what's interesting is that if statistics show that only a small part of the world is moving towards greater secularism, and that part of the world will soon be in a minority because of population statistics and so forth. So Pew Research Center reported this about what are called the nones, meaning people who report having no religion. And here's what they said. Agnostics, atheists, and other people who do not affiliate with any religion, though increasing in countries such as the United States and France, will make a declining share of the world's total population by 2050. So it's important to note that with the rise of religious belief in conservative areas, we're also seeing, we are seeing a rise in secularism, but it's really isolated to North America and Western Europe, and these are places in the world where population is declining.
Yeah, so yeah, it's important that we somehow filter all this propaganda that comes to us from all these different outlets. And so we'd love to hear what your thoughts are on this subject. And yeah, definitely write to us in the comments below. But if you would like to know more about this and all this material can be found at nickcady.org. It's been great having you with us. And there are a lot of links to other sources, other material in his blog. So we encourage you to read that and to continue to grow in the knowledge of some of these topics. And so subscribe to this YouTube channel, tell your friends about it. We just like this a dialogue. We'd like you to get involved and share your comments, as I said before. And we look forward to seeing you again. God bless you.